I think Anthony Streeter hasn't turned up, and Sam Utai I don't think has turned up either. So Malcolm Farrell.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, better get the chair under me. I brought my wife's photo along because if I'm shifting out of the camp, I want to move in here. Now, I've got you've probably got the submission. My submission, Malcolm Farrell, and suggestion. The long-term plan suggests to close the South Brighton holiday parks is wrong, and what the community doesn't want. Now, the community at the camp does not want it to close. The local community doesn't want it to close. The local businesses don't want it to close. The international visitors don't want it to close. Now, as simple as that. Can't get any simpler. Now, my qualifications, left school at 15, served my time as a butcher. 18 years, I went into the army at 18. I became a sergeant in the CMTs and I was transferred at A grade to the regular force. I became a bushman for 2 years, coal miner for 3. 2 years building bridges, that's with state highway bridges. I was in my shearing. I shore for about 47 years and I've been one of the best shearers in going too. Shore 559 sheep in a day in 9 hours. 634 sheep, lambs in 9 hours, and I was short a world record with 5 other shearers in 1964. We shore 2,587 sheep. So I've had a big life of doing things.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I actually had 30 years in the rental house business. I wanted to go farming, which I naturally would do because I come from a farm, but I developed very serious arthritis and that's why you see me in a bit of trouble here, and also working for so long as a shearer. I wore myself out with a musculoskeletal disease out of, but I'm quite happy, things are going all right. Now the damage to the grounds and the liquefaction, it was minimal. The ground showed no signs of lateral spreading, cracking, only minor spots of liquefaction, not a reason to close the camp. Now the flood risk. I've lived here at the camp for 18 years. Only once has the estuary broken its banks and flooded the camp. That was in March 1914, a 1 in 100 year event. The only reason the water broke the banks was due to the heavy machinery being used to fix the stormwater system. It compacted it, and of course it was a very unusual storm because it was a terrific southerly and it was making waves. I went out in Norwich Hub and it was absolutely, looked like the pier down the end crashing over the top. Well, there was no way of stopping it. But there is a simple remedy because I've done all sorts of work, bulldozed river beds, put in stop banks, done all sorts. Now, all it wants is a metre high levee round the back of that camp. Very simple job to do. And it doesn't have to go all round because there's sand dunes that we connected into. That's all it needs to stop the water coming into that camp. It's a very simple operation. I've been at this camp for 18 years. That's why I've had trouble with my wife's sickness. And she was in rest homes up here. I'm from Ashburton. Prior to that, I was in this camp every year with my wife and kids. Now, I've been there since 1960 with my wife and children, and I'm there to this day. And I wouldn't be there unless it was a good camp. Those times when you walked into that camp, and it's still the same, when it comes around big holiday period times, you've got to book 12 months in advance to get in there. You just can't get in there. It's so popular, that camp. And it's been the most popular camp in Christchurch. I've got a camper van of my own and I drive around all around the South Island. Always a pleasure to come back to my camp, which is there. It's the best camp in Christchurch. It's so open and free and we're all spread about, not chucked on top of one another. And it's a lovely place, winter and summer. You want to see it in snow time, it's just a winter wonderland. Beautiful. We skiers there, so you only see it now and again, and you don't see it really at its best all the time. It's a beautiful camp, and it should never be shut. I can just can't imagine a sign on the front of that gate to say, this camp is closed. Biggest belief. Business, well, it's a popular business. It's just thriving business. Now, Brighton doesn't need any business closed. It wants them opening. And, you know, Brighton are going to suffer because there's a huge amount of tourists spending their dollars in town like us people. Now that, you know, there's going to be jobs lost if it's shut. Now, you just don't do that. Now, and I've been on the petitions and I've been talking to a lot of people and they're very badly affected by what's going on. It's just caused a great deal of distension around Brighton, this sort of thing, and it was unnecessary, I think. As for the pricing or the fixing of that camp, now it's greatly inflated and it's actually looked as if you've got to do it in 6 months. That doesn't happen and it won't happen. It's got to be done over a period of time and it can be split up into the sections that will make it look attractive enough to do, not just say, you know, a heap of money into something. No, sure enough, you could put that in and you might get another earthquake tomorrow. But we're all living on borrowed time there. Now, as far as the security of the camp, you know, we police that camp, you know, ourselves, and we keep a strict eye on it. And there's a lot of, you know, things go on out in the back of us. There's women and kids, and there's people, you know, around there all the time. Now we see some pretty shady characters about in our time out there. They're everywhere. Now we get the police on that pretty smartly, and tidy it up quick. Now if we're not there, there's going to be a big risk to the people of South Brighton. You know, break-ins, tennis club will be absolutely trashed. They're worried about it. They tell us about it. They're very worried about it. They've got children there. I like this. All this sort of thing to take into consideration. Getting towards the current management we've got in there. Now, they're absolutely brilliant because they're right up with computerisation. They're in contact all over the world. They are tourists themselves, have been, and they're business people. Now, they've come in here with money, and of course, well, if you've got money, you want to make money. You won't go into business unless you're making money. They're no different to anybody else, but they are the people you want there. You could get somebody else in, but they have contacts all over the world. They're on the computers going all the time. They're very up with it. They're ideal people for you. Now, I think you should deal with them properly and get it all settled down nicely.
Mr. Farrell, I could listen to you all afternoon. I truly could. You know, you're fabulous, and but I have to say that your time's up, and I'm a terrible chair because I just sit here and don't interrupt. But I have to because I've got other people who are waiting to be heard.
No, I expected that.
You have made a really powerful submission, and I just loved it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll take my photo back because I was hoping that, you know, if I get kicked out, well, I'll be an idiot. So put my photo up. Thank you.
Thank you.